Dear ladies and gentlemen, being the chairperson, the president of the supervisory board, I have a pleasure of welcoming all those present at the general shareholders meeting, normal standard shareholders meeting of Tauron Polska S.A. I would like to welcome all the shareholders, members of the supervisory board, Jacek Krzywka and Jan Pudowski, as well as the management board, Marek Ładowski and CEO Filip Grzegorczyk, the notary public, the expert, as well as employees of the company who are present together, accompanying us to provide for very swift and efficient procedure. Before we pass to the agenda of this meeting, I would kindly like to request a representative of the vote counting company to introduce the system to you, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Each of you at the registration received this tablet for voting, having two buttons, your data, where you can check the number of votes that you represent, and if I kindly request that you do that right now, and the other button, documents, containing published documents, all those published and released at their website, which you can obviously browse through and read during the shareholders meeting. When a chairperson announces a vote, on the screen on the right there will be a title of the vote, and it will also be displayed on your tablet with the titles and three buttons: yes for, abstain, and no being against. Then you have to choose one of those. Click it with your finger corresponding to your decision for the given draft resolution, and then you will navigate to another screen on the tablet. In order to confirm your decision, you have to press the button confirm, and you will be informed that your vote has been duly cast. If you want to split your votes, this is also possible. You have to press the button split, and then you can cast your vote on each share. I'll be here during the whole meeting if you have any problems, if you encounter any troubles. If you do have any problems right now, any questions, I'm gladly answer them. If no, I thank you. Thank you very much. I understand that the rules of voting are clear to you. If so, I suggest that we proceed to item 2. That is the election of the chairperson for the general shareholders meeting. I suggest that you make your proposals as to the chairperson is concerned. Good morning, Marcin Leniński, proxy of KGHM Polska Niemiecka. I propose Beata Wonińska for the chairperson. She's a proxy of the State Treasury. Any other candidates? Obviously, thank you for proposing me as the chairperson. I agree to be a candidate, and since there are no other candidates, I hereby rule a secret vote on resolution number 1 of the general shareholders meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. of this very day on election of the chairperson for the general shareholders meeting, having the following content. The general shareholders meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. based in Katowice, acting according to Article 409, Paragraph 1 of the Commercial Companies Code and Paragraph 12 of the bylaws of the General Shareholders Meeting, with its register voting Katowice resolved as follows. Ms. Beata Wonińska is hereby appointed as the chairperson of the ordinary General Shareholders Meeting of the company. The resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption date. That's the wording of the resolution. Please cast your votes now. Has everyone cast their votes? I close the vote. I request that the report on the voting be provided. Ladies and gentlemen, I confirm that the resolution has been passed with all votes for. All meaning 617,911,389 votes out of all, representing all the shares, being 35.25% of share capital. Thank you for electing me as the chairperson, let me please move to the proper place where the chairperson of the General Shareholders Meeting shall sit, and I also request that the attendance list be provided to me as I speak. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the attendance list I was provided with at the shareholders meeting, we have 326 shareholders represented here and 1,151,650,400 shares, representing to 65.71% of share capital, providing eligibility for 1,144,759,773 shares being represented as votes. I request that the attendance list be officially provided. I shall sign it. Please remain patient, ladies and gentlemen. It may take a while. The attendance list has been signed. It is rendered available to all of you throughout the entire shareholders meeting. Let me remind you that, according to the Articles of Association of the company, there may be some limitations as far as the voting is concerned, which apply to shareholders having more than 10% of all votes in the company, at which time the voting rights are limited as follows. None of them can cast more than 10% of all those votes, except for State Treasury and their subsidiaries, as long as the State Treasury holds at least 25% of all shares and votes in the company. And votes resting with the shareholders having the relationship of dominance or dependence accumulates an accumulated number of votes. If it exceeds 10% of all votes, they're also subject to the limitation of voting rights. All of these rules are described in the Articles of Association. KGHM Polska Miedź has votes exceeding 10%, but this circumstance has already been entered in the list of persons eligible to vote, and they represent no more than 10% of all the shares. Let me also remind you that State Treasury is also a shareholder holding more than 10% of all votes, but the foregoing limitation does not pertain to the above. Is there anyone else that would like to report the relationship of dominance or dependence in the understanding of paragraph 10? If no motions are filed, the following attendance list and list of votes is available to you. I hereby announce that this General Shareholders Meeting of Tauron has been duly convened by publication on the website on the 27th April of this year, and in a manner provided for according to the public procurement law and the regulation on introducing financial instruments into the public trade. 402, Article 402 of the Code of Civil Companies, the list of all parties eligible to vote was submitted to the company 3 days before publishing the date of the meeting. I hereby suggest that we proceed to the agenda, the proper agenda of today's meeting. Before we do that, I have the following technical or organizational motion to abstain from, which is, according to the laws, to abstain from reading all the resolutions, provided that they all have been published on the company's website, and the wording of all the resolutions will be displayed on the screen as we proceed upon them. Is there anyone else that does not agree with the following motion? If so, please raise your hand. And if there are no disagreements, no reservations, I hereby announce that this motion has been passed, and we may proceed to other items of the agenda, namely item 4. That is the adoption of the agenda of the Ordinary General Shareholders Meeting. Let me please just remind you that it was already published on 27th on the April. On the 5th of May, there was an amendment to the agenda also published on the website, this being related to a motion of a shareholder having more than 1.25% of the shares, that is the Treasury, which motioned for including 3 additional items. No, sorry, they are not present here on the screen. That is adopting agenda on changing resolution number 5 of extraordinary shareholder meeting of 29th of November on the remuneration to the members of the board, adopting resolution on changing the articles of association, and in item 5, Item 3, adopting on management of assets, principles of procedure before conducting agreements on PR marketing, as well as consultancy companies related to changing and amending the following contracts, principles of donation and exemption agreements, principles of letting assets, on representation spendings, spendings on legal marketing, PR, and counseling services, as well as on management, as well as determination of remuneration for members of the board, as well as performance of duties stemming from the Act on Public Property Management. Thus, amended agenda has been published. It is currently being displayed on the screen. Are there any questions or reservations pertaining to the agenda, ladies and gentlemen? If there are none, I hereby rule an open vote on adopting of the agenda of today's Ordinary General Shareholders Meeting of the company. Has everyone cast the vote? Not yet, I can see. Thank you very much. I announced that the resolution on adoption of the agenda of today's General Shareholders Meeting has been adopted under all valid votes. There's 1,144,759,773 votes, meaning 100% of votes for. We may proceed to another item of today's meeting, namely, according to the bylaws of the meeting, that is, a resolution on waiving the secrecy of the vote of the committees appointed by the ordinary general shareholders meeting. The draft resolution has been published on the company's website, and it is currently being displayed on screen according to its wording. The general shareholders meeting decides to waive the secrecy of the vote of the committees appointed by the meeting. I order an open vote on passing this resolution. Please cast your votes now. Have all the shareholders casted the vote? If so, I close the vote and I request that report be submitted. Thank you very much. I announced that, as in the case of previous resolutions, the resolution on waiving the secrecy on the vote of committees appointed by the ordinary shareholders meeting has been adopted with all votes for, all meaning 1,144,759,773 votes, valid votes cast for, representing the same number of shares. We may then proceed to item 6 of the agenda, namely the appointment of the returning committee. I kindly request that the candidates to the returning committee be submitted. I also inform that the returning committee must be composed of 3 persons as per the regulations. I propose the following persons: Andrzej Prucnal, Romana Kaczmarek, and Maciej Sierpiński to sit at the returning committee. Thank you very much. Any other candidates to the returning committee? If no, obviously questions to the candidates if they agree to candidate to be members of the returning committee and be elected to the foregoing. Thank you very much. Since candidates were proposed in a number representing the number of returning committee according to the bylaws of the shareholders meeting, I hereby order an open vote, en bloc vote on all those candidates. You can see the content, the wording of the resolution on screen. It goes as follows: acting pursuant to the bylaws of the General Shareholders Meeting, the ordinary General Shareholder Meeting of Tauron Polska Energia, with its register office in Katowice, resolves as follows. Paragraph 1. The returning committee is hereby appointed, composed of Andrzej Prucnal, Romana Kaczmarek, Maciej Sierpiński. Paragraph 2. The resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption date. I hereby order an open vote on resolution number 6 on the appointment of the returning committee of the ordinary general meeting of shareholders. Have all the shareholders cast a vote? If so, I close the vote and I request that the voting report be submitted. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I hereby announce that at the vote on resolution number 4 on appointment of the returning committee, there were 1,144,759,773 valid votes cast for, all votes for representing the same number of shares. I hereby announce that the resolution has been passed. I kindly request that the returning committee constitute itself and pick a chairperson for the returning committee. Thank you very much. Since the returning committee has been duly convened and established, let's proceed to another resolution, namely the resolution on the approval of the consolidated financial statements. I would like the management board to comment upon the consolidated results. I'm Marek Wodowski. I would like to briefly comment upon the profit and loss from 2016 in comparison to the year 2015. In general, on this slide, you can see the current situation as far as the basic financial parameters are concerned, those that were attained in the year 2016, with the meaning to the capital of the Tauron Group. The revenues from sales were on a several levels, slightly lower. EBITDA was also slightly lower, 5% lower. The net income was significantly higher. CapEx about this in the previous year, the net debt EBITDA, and a slight increase compared to the end of 2015. In the following paragraphs of the presentation, I'd like to provide you with some more extensive data, those that justify the entire individual reasons. As far as the operating data, production of trade coal increased by 30%, production of electricity slight drop by 9%. Heat production on basically the same level compared to 2015. Electricity distribution, there was a slight 1% increase, and retail sale of energy a drop by 11%. Now, coming to detail, net result in a predominant unit in 2016, that's 376 million zlotys. Let me please remind you that in 2016, we were facing write-downs that would rate assets on 700 million zlotys. In 2015, this amount, the amount of write-downs was 3 billion zlotys. That obviously exerted significant influence on the net income. All the write-downs were related to some perspectives, especially for the production part of the Tauron Group. In 2015, mainly in production, compared to 2016, in RES-related activities. EBITDA for 2016 versus 2015, if we just extracted one-off events, they were on a similar level, but we have to be aware of the fact that in 2016, especially in 2016, there was one-off event that had an impact on the result we obtained. I will comment upon that in a moment when I come to results of individual segments. So as far as the key segments are concerned, what we report is the information for our shareholders in a breakdown into main segments: extraction, distribution, production, and sale. As you can see, in 2016, in the extraction and production sector was a negative result on the operating level. As far as EBITDA is concerned, only in extraction there was a negative result, the reasons for which I will provide you in a moment. In total, as far as EBITDA for 2016 is concerned, and the reason for that compared to 2015, obviously, the biggest impact was exerted by the production segment and sales segment. Obviously, for sales, there was a positive impact. For production, there was a negative impact. Now, proceeding to the results for individual segments. For extraction in 2016, what we are facing was under the Tauron Capital Group, what was a functioning, there was the Brzeszcze company, New Brzeszcze, under Grupa Tauron. There was a company, a partnership that was taken over starting from the beginning of 2016. And in 2016, they had a negative result on the generated EBITDA, which was primarily related to very low levels of output. The other half a year was significantly better, but in the first half a year, that was a period of very intense preparatory works, which actually prevented us from increasing the production. Now, for the entire segment of extraction, the output, it was very much affected by prices. Compared to 2015, the prices of sale dropped significantly. The in-house cost for the generation of coal obviously fell as well, which was primarily related to a higher value of stock. In the first quarter of 2016, the level of stock was reduced significantly. As far as the production segment is concerned, here I would like to draw attention to two main items. Firstly, the first positive element, that's the increase in the EBITDA result as far as the reservoir power, as well as intervention for cold reserve, increase in revenues. That was the first year where we had actually, the first year when we faced some increase in revenues as far as the intervention reserve is concerned, more than 30 million compared to 120 million generated in 2015. Obviously, it was related to our approach to contracting for 2016, where part of our sources was on standby. It was not contracted for sales, which enabled us to attain this level of revenues. A negative phenomenon was, on the other hand, the increase in CO2 costs in 2016. And the CO2 cost exceeded the level of 380 million compared to 180 million zlotys in 2015, which was primarily related to the decreasing or practically free allowances for CO2 emission. And this situation will remain in the incoming years as well. As far as property loss, 200 million, that was the reduction in EBITDA, and that was primarily stemming from the prices of property loss in 2016, especially at the end of the year. They were priced very low by the market. As far as the distribution segment is concerned, the situation was relatively stable, but we have to keep in mind that in 2016, the mean square root capital was actually very low. So if we perceive the price of the distribution products, we can see the drop in a tariff. You can see the drop in a tariff by 3.60 grosz. That was the main reason for the mean square root price of the capital, plus the decrease in 1% decrease in the capital price, which shows you the left-hand side graph, and the actualization reserve that was obviously also related to the general bargaining agreement, and that was settled in a positive way. As far as the sales segment is concerned, a significant factor affecting the EBITDA result was primarily the energy and sale of one. And the volume dropped in retail, which caused that we earned less from energy. Starting from 2015, we've been observing positive effects of the activities conducted, as well as the increase in retail. But that's for 2017. But in 2016, compared to 2015, the trend was negative. As far as property rights were concerned, for sale segment, there was a positive effect on EBITDA, which was also related to the drop in prices, and simultaneously lower cost generated by sale as far as the purchase of property rights for customers were related. The reserve for the regional fund of environmental protection, actually there was no reserve, there was no provision created in 2016 that was related to the reverse discount. In 2015 we did create this provision, but comparing those two results, we have to actually take those into account.
As for debt and financing, at the end of 2016, the level of indebtedness, financial indebtedness, was almost 9 billion zlotys. The amount of available financing was almost 4 billion zlotys, and therefore We see that in the future, in the near future, the Tauron Group has available financing guaranteed. The biggest repayment of our debt will be due in 2019 and 2020. In terms of that, we are already carrying out some works and analyses that will allow us to approach the years 2019-2020 in a rational way. The key projects that we carry out are the construction of a coal-fueled power unit in Jaworzno Power Plant at the end of 1990 is 30%, that's the performance. Now gas and steam unit in Stalowa Wola is 85% by the end of 2019, the performance. Two other investments that we reported, the construction of a power unit in Tychy production plant and modernization of 200 megawatt installation for denitration that has been completed in 2016. We are also carrying out works in the extraction segment that are to provide our extraction capacity, mining capacity, the driving of the Janina shaft, and an investment project in Brzeszcze, as well as the construction of a shaft in Sobieski mining facility. Now, CAPEX drops at the level of about 9% in 2015-2016. Most of it is due to distribution. Investments are carried out according to schedule, original schedule or amended schedule. Therefore, this drop only shows the difference in expenses, but it's not symptomatic of any disturbances in investments whatsoever. In 2016, we carried out a efficiency improvement program that was approved back then. And in the first year of this program of efficiency improvement, we generated advancement of performance of 36%. It was the biggest in the production segment. Voluntary redundancies program resulted in 510 jobs less. We are expecting this program to be carried out further in years 2017 and 2018. And as of today, we don't see any symptoms that might suggest that the performance of this program, the execution of this program is somehow threatened. The results of Tauron, the mother company, the dominant company, now the net result and EBITDA that were below zero, that were negative, but we had significant impairment losses because of the fact that Tauron Polska Energia owns some shares in subsidiary companies, and these write-offs, impairment losses were related, they amounted to about 5 billion zlotys. They were related with write-offs compared to shares. If we don't take these write-offs into account, the result would be at a similar level. However, these results should be perceived from the perspective of the whole group of companies, particularly in terms of commercial activities and trading activities, because we analyze the market every time, all the time, in terms of trading, and so our revenues are bigger or smaller depending on the market situation. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you, President. Are there any questions to the results provided by the President? Now, I have one question related with average prices that you obtained from power sales, 2016 versus 2015. Could you tell us? Yes, in 2016, we observed a decrease in prices, it was due to the market situation mainly, but also in 2015, the first quarter was particularly good to us because in 2016, sales were lower in renewables. And the winter was pretty cold. It wasn't like very freezing, but it was pretty cold. Therefore, the prices in 2015 were quite favorable to us as compared to the market situation. And in 2016, this did not take place. This drop is not a lot, it's not huge, it's a few zlotys per megawatt hour. However, taking into account the amounts that we trade, it could be felt, it was observable. But if we have a look at our results, we need to have a look at it from the perspective of prices related to power, but also fuel. In 2016, we observed a drop in extraction of fuel. There was a drop in prices of coal, which did not affect the result to a large degree. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions to the results presented by the President? If not, I hereby close the discussion and let us move on to another item on the agenda. That's the presentation of Management Board reports. It's item 8. It's the Management Board report on the operations in 2016, including the evaluation of the company's situation, including the internal control, risk management and compliance and internal audit functions, performing the information obligation by the company, evaluation of the rationality of the sponsoring, charity and other activities of the company, as well as meeting the criteria of independence of the supervisory board members, consolidated statement report of the supervisory board for the fiscal year ending on the 31st of December 2016, and consolidated financial statements of Tauron Polska Energia for the fiscal year ending on 31st December 2016, and the supervisory board report on evaluation of the financial statements of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. and the report of the management board on the operations of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the fiscal year ending on 31st December 2016, and the motion of the management board concerning covering the net loss for the financial year 2016. The reports have been published on the website of Tauron Polska Energia. Are there any questions related to these reports of the supervisory board? If not, I close the discussion and let us move on to another item on the agenda, which concerns examination of the consolidation financial statements of Tauron Polska Energia as a capital group for the previous year fiscal year, according to international financial reporting standards approved by the European Union, and a consolidated report of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. on payments to government for the year ended 31st December 2016, and adoption of the resolution under approval. These statements were also published on the website of the company. Are there any questions to these statements before we vote? If not, I hereby close the discussion, and I suggest that we move on to voting on the resolution on approval of these resolutions. Now, this is resolution number 5 of today's general meeting of shareholders. Please refresh the contents of the resolution. And I hereby announce the vote on adoption of the resolution number 5 of the ordinary general meeting of shareholders of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. Please vote now.
Czy wszyscy Państwo mieli możliwość?
All of you cast their votes?
Jeżeli wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu,
Everyone has cast a vote. I close the vote, and please provide the voting report now. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby state that the resolution on approval of the consolidated financial statement of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. and for the previous fiscal year and consolidated statements on payment to the government for the fiscal year ending on 31st December 2016 has been adopted by 1,144,759,773 votes, constituting 65.31 votes, and votes for were 1,144,751,773, no votes against, and abstentions 8,000 shares. Therefore, the resolution has been adopted. Let us move on to another item on the agenda, which is examination of the Management Board's report on the operations of Tauron Polska Energia of the for the financial year 2016 and adoption of the resolution thereof. It has also been published on the company's website. Are there any questions to this resolution and to the statement of the Management Board in question? If not, I close the discussion and let us move on to voting on approval of these of the report. The draft resolution was announced, published on the company's website. Now it is displayed on the screen. Please, I announce open vote on approval of the report of the Management Board of the company operations of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the financial year 2016. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I close the meeting and I request that the returning committee provide the results of the vote. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the resolution on approval of the report of the Management Board on company operations of the Capital Group has been adopted. Now, 1,144,759,773 votes representing the same number of shares have been cast, representing 65.31% of the share capital, and the votes for were 1,144,751,773 for, no votes against, and abstentions 8,000 votes. Thank you very much. Another item on the agenda is examination of the financial statements of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the fiscal year ended on 31st December 2016, prepared in accordance with international financial reporting standards, approved by the European Union, and adoption of a resolution related to approval of these financial statements. Just like the previous document, this report has also been announced and presented to the general meeting by the Management Board and published on the company's website. Are there any questions concerning this report? If not, I close the discussion, and I suggest that we move on to the resolution, which is displayed on the screen and has been published on the company's website. It's resolution number 7 of today's meeting. Please refresh the contents of the resolution. And now I hereby announce open vote on approval of the financial statement of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the fiscal year ended on 31st December 2016. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? I close the meeting, and please, I would like to request the returning committee to provide the results.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you. The resolution on approval of the financial statements of the company has been adopted as follows. The number of votes cast is 1,144,759,773 votes, representing the same number of shares, which is 65.31% of the share capital. The votes for were 1,144,751,773 votes, no votes against, and abstentions 8,000 votes. Thank you very much. We may move on to another item on the agenda. It's item 12, which is the report of the Management Board on the operations of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the financial year 2016 and adoption of the resolution containing that report. The report has been presented to the general meeting and was published on the company's website. Are there any questions related to this report on company operations? If not, I close the discussion, and I suggest that we move on to voting on resolution number 8 on the ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia as of today. And the draft resolution has been published on the company's website, and now it is displayed on the screen. So please get familiar with the content, and once you've done that, please vote in an open vote on that resolution. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I close the voting, and I'd like to request the returning committee to provide the results of the vote. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I announce that 1,144,759,773 votes were cast, representing the same number of shares on the report of the management board. They represent 65.31% of the share capital, where 1,144,751,773 votes were for, there were no votes against, and there were 8,000 abstentions. Thank you. Now let us move on to considering the motion of the management board on covering the loss for the last financial year. The motion of the management board was announced on the company's website, and in its contents it includes the recommendation that the net losses of 166,252,898 0.52 zlotys should be covered from the reserve capital of the company. Are there any questions? If not, I close the discussion, and let us move on to voting on covering the loss for the last fiscal year. It's resolution number 9 of the ordinary general meeting, dated 29th of May. It was published on the company's website. It is displayed on the screen, and please vote now. Have all of you cast their votes? If so, I close the vote and ask the returning committee to provide the vote. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the resolution on covering the losses for the previous year has been adopted unanimously. 1,144,759 votes, 773 votes have been cast. All of the votes were for. Let us move on to item 14 of today's agenda. It concerns the fulfillment, acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by the members of the management board for 2016. I suggest that the resolutions are formulated in a positive way, that in the resolutions include information that the general meeting decides to acknowledge the fulfillment of duties to Mr. Name and surname for fulfillment of his duties of vice president or president. There were two options on the website, but I think it would be reasonable, according to our general practice, that thus formulated draft resolution should be voted on. Do you have any questions to such a formulation of the resolution? This will be voted on with reference to each member of the management board. If there are no questions or objections, I suggest that we vote now on the resolution for fulfillment of duties by the President of the Management Board in 2016, Mr. Filip Grzegorczyk. The General Meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. acting pursuant to Article 393(1) and Article 395, Paragraph 2(3) of the Commercial Companies Code, the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships, and Paragraph 335(1) and 2 of the Companies Article of Associations. The Ordinary General Meeting of Tauron Polska S.A. with registered office in Katowice, and decides to acknowledge the fulfillment of duties of Mr. Filip Grzegorczyk for fulfillment of his duties as a president of the management board in 2016, and the resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption date. Have all of you cast the votes? If so, I close the meeting. And I'd like to ask the returning committee to provide the results of the vote. Thank you very much. I announce that the resolution on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties to President of the Management Board, Mr. Filip Grzegorczyk, has been adopted. 1,144,759,773 votes, valid votes, have been cast, representing 65.31% of the share capital. The votes for were 1,144,325,201 votes, and votes against were 4,434,572. There were no abstentions. The resolution has been adopted with 99.9% of votes. Another resolution concerns acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties to Mr. Jarosław Broda for the previous year. The ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska S.A. based in Katowice, acting pursuant to Article 393 and Article 395, Paragraph 2 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships, and of Paragraph 35 of the Articles of Associations, acknowledges the fulfillment of duties of the fulfillment of duties by Mr. Jarosław Broda as the Vice President of the Management Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for 2016, and please vote now.
Szanowni Państwo, czy wszyscy z Państwa...
Gentlemen, have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I hereby close the vote and request the returning committee submit the voting report. I hereby announce that in the voting on the resolution concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by the Vice President of the Management Board, Jarosław Broda, the voting was as follows. There were completely 1,144,325,773 votes cast, including 1,144,325,201 votes for, 434,572 votes against, no abstentions. Thank you very much. The resolution has been adopted. We are proceeding to resolution number 12 concerning acknowledgement of the fulfillment of duties by the Vice President of the Management Board, Kamiński, acting pursuant to Article 391 and Article 395, Paragraph 2.3 of the Commercial Companies Code and Paragraph 35.1.2 of the Company's Articles of Association. The Ordinary General Shareholder Meeting of Tauron Polska are with registered office in Katowice results as follows. Mr. Kamil Kamiński is discharged from fulfillment of his duties as the Vice President of the Management Board, performed from the 1st of January to 31st of December 2016. And paragraph 2, the resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption date. I hereby order a secret vote on this resolution, the resolution on the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties. Have all the shareholders cast a vote? If so, I hereby close the vote and request the returning committee submit the voting report. Thank you, dear Mr. Chairperson. I have announced that on voting on the resolution concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties of Kamil Kamiński has been adopted. There were 1,144,759,773 votes cast, including 1,144,317,201 votes for, 434,572 votes against, 8,000 abstentions, which makes the resolution to have been duly passed. And so we may proceed to resolution number 13 concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by the Vice President of the Management Board, Mr. Marek Wadowski, for the year 2016. Acting pursuant to Article 3931, Article 395, Paragraph 2.3 of the Commercial Companies and Partnerships Code and Paragraph 35.1.2 of the Companies Articles of Association, the Ordinary General Shareholders Meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. results as follow. Mr. Marek Wadowski is discharged from fulfillment of his duties as the Vice President of the Management Board in a period from the 29th January until 31st of December 2016. The resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption day. I hereby announce that the voting shall proceed now. Please cast your votes. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I hereby close the vote and request that the returning committee submit the voting report. Thank you very much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, in the matter of resolution on the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by the Vice President Marek Wadowski has been passed. There have been 1,144,759,773 votes cast representing the same number of shares, including 1,143,854,808 votes for, 434,572 votes against, 470,393 abstentions. Thank you very much. Let us proceed to voting on resolution number 14 concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Mr. Piotr Zawistowski from his duties as the Vice President of the Management Board. The Ordinary General Shareholders Meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. acting pursuant to Article 3931 and Article 395, Paragraph 2.3 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships and Paragraph 35.1 and 2 of the Companies Articles Association results as follows. Mr. Piotr Zawistowski is discharged from fulfillment of his duties as the Vice President of the Management Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. performed from the 1st of January until 31st of December 2016. Paragraph 2, the resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption date. I hereby order a secret vote. Since all the shareholders have cast their vote, I kindly request the returning committee submit the voting report. Thank you very much. I announced that in the matter of resolution on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Mr. Piotr Zawistowski has been passed with 1,144,759,770 votes have been cast, including 1,144,316,891 votes for, 434,882 votes against, 8,000 abstentions. We may proceed to voting on another resolution, resolution number 15, concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Mr. Remigiusz Nowakowski for the period starting from the 1st of January 2016 to 14 November. Acting pursuant to Article 3931, Article 395, Paragraph 2.3 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships, as well as Paragraph 35.1.2 of the Companies Articles of Association, the Ordinary General Shareholders Meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. resolves as follows. Mr. Remigiusz Nowakowski is discharged from fulfillment of his duties as the President of the Management Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. performed from the 1st of January until 14th of November 2016. Paragraph 2, the resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption day, and obviously the vote I hereby order is a secret one. Since all the shareholders have cast their votes, I hereby close the vote and request that the returning committee submit the voting report.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Very much. I hereby announce that in the matter of resolution number 15 concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Mr. Remigiusz Nowakowski has been adopted. There were 1,144,759,773 votes cast, representing the same number of votes, representing 65%. 0.31% of all share capital, including 1,143,846,808 votes for, 442,572 votes against, and 470,393 abstentions. And the very last resolution concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Ms. Anna Stryjczyk for the year 2016. The Ordinary Shareholders Meeting of Tauron Polska Energia is acting pursuant to Article 3931 and Article 395, Paragraph 2.3 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships. Paragraph 35.1.2 of the Companies Articles of Association resolves as follows. Ms. Anna Stryjczyk is discharged from her duties as the Vice President of the Management Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. performed from the 1st of January until the 8th January 2016. The resolution shall enter into force as of its adoption date. Since all the shareholders have cast their vote, I hereby close the vote and request the returning committee submit the voting report. Dear ladies and gentlemen, I hereby announce that in the matter of the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Ms. Anna Stryjczyk, in the voting, there were 1,144,575,773 votes cast, representing the same number of shares, representing 65.31% of the company's share capital, including 1,144,316,891 votes for, 334,572 4,882 votes against and 8,000 abstentions, and therefore the resolution has been adopted. We have completed item 14 of today's agenda. We may proceed to item 15, concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by all the members of the Supervisory Board performed in the year 2016. And since there are 14 of those resolutions, that is more than the Supervisory Board members, I will not read the content of all the resolutions. I shall only read the name of the given person, Supervisory Board, and the period of the tenure of the performance of their duties. I hereby ask if you have any reservations. If I see no reservations, I suggest that we proceed to voting on resolution number 17, one which has just been displayed on screen, concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Beata Chłodzińska as the member of the Supervisory Board. Duties performed from the 1st of January until the end of December 2016. I hereby order a secret vote on this resolution. Since all of you have cast your votes, I close the vote and request that the report on the votes be submitted.
Dobrze, dziękuję bardzo. Stwierdzam, że uchwała została podjęta.
I announced that the resolution on the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Beata Chłodzińska has been adopted. There were 1,144,759,100 votes for, representing the same number of votes, representing 65.31% of share capital, including 1,144,325,201 votes for, 434,572 votes against, no abstentions. Thank you for this vote, ladies and gentlemen. And I suggest that we proceed to resolution number 18 on the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by a member of the Supervisory Board, Ms. Anna Mańk. Duties being performed from the 1st of January until 31st of December 2016. I order a secret vote on adopting this resolution. Since all the shareholders have cast their vote, I close the vote and request that the returning committee submit the voting report. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that in the matter of resolution concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Anna Mańk has been passed with 1,144,773 total of votes, including 1,144,325,201 votes for, 434,572 votes against, no abstentions. Thank you for this vote, ladies and gentlemen. Let's proceed to voting on resolution number 19, concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by member of the Supervisory Board, Jacek Szykę. And these duties were performed in a period from the 1st of January until the end of December 2016. I hereby order a secret vote with the content of the resolution displayed on screen. Please vote now. Since all of the shareholders have cast their votes, and I am assuming that so, I close the vote and request the returning committee submit the report on voting results. Thank you very much. I announced that a resolution on the acknowledgement fulfillment of duties performed by Jacek Szyka as a member of the Supervisory Board last year has been passed, has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares, that is 65.35% of the share capital, including 1,144,370,201 votes for, 442,572 votes against, and no abstentions. Let us proceed to voting on another resolution, resolution number 20, the content of which is displayed on screen, on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by a member of the Supervisory Board in 2016 to Stanisław Bortkiewicz. The duties were performed by him from the 30th of December until 31st of December 2016. I hereby order a secret vote. Since all the shareholders cast their votes, I close the vote and request that the voting report be submitted. I announce that in the matter of resolution concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Stanisław Bortkiewicz has been passed with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing 65.31% of the share capital, including 1,144,317,201 votes for, 442,572 votes against, no abstentions. We may proceed to voting on another resolution, resolution number 21, on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by the member of the Supervisory Board, Leszek Koziorowski, for the duties performed from the 1st of January 2016 to the 31st of December 2016 as the Supervisory Board member. The wording of the resolution has been displayed. I open a secret vote. Now, if all of you have cast your votes, I close the vote and I request that the voting report be submitted. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the resolution on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Leszek Kozłowski has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes, representing the same number of shares, constituting 65.31% of the company's share capital, including 1,144,317,201 votes for, 42,572 votes against, and no abstentions. Resolution number 21 has been adopted. We may proceed to voting on resolution number 22 on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Jan Płudowski as a member of Supervisory Board in a period from the 30th of December to 31st of December 2016. The wording of the resolution has been displayed on screen. Please cast your votes in a secret vote now. Have all the shareholders cast their votes? If so, I close the voting and request a voting report to be submitted. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce the resolution on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Jan Płudowski has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, and 65.31% of the company's share capital, including 1,144,317,201 votes for, 442,572 votes against, and no abstentions. Let us now proceed to voting on resolution number 23 on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Jacek Rojicki as the member of Supervisory Board in a period from the 8th of June 2016 to 31st of December 2016. The wording of the resolution has been displayed on screen. I order a secret vote now. Have all of you cast their votes? If so, I close the vote and wait for the voting report. Thank you very much. I announced that in a matter of resolution concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties to Maciej Grawicki has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes cast, representing 65.31% of the share capital, including 1,144,317,201 votes for, 442,572 votes against the resolution, and no abstentions. Since resolution number 23 has been successfully adopted, I suggest that we proceed to resolution number 24 concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Stefan Świętkowski as the member of the Supervisory Board in a period from the 8th of June 2016 to 31st of December 2016. The wording of the resolution has been displayed on screen. I hereby order a secret vote now. Have all of you cast your votes? If so, I close the vote and request that the voting report be submitted. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the resolution on acknowledgement and fulfillment of duties performed by Esteban Świętkowski has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares and 65.31% of share capital, including 1,144,370,201 votes for, 442,572 votes against, no abstentions. The resolution, as I have already said, has been adopted. Let's proceed to resolution number 25 concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Agnieszka Woźniak as the member of the supervisory board from the 16th of December until 31st of December 2016. I hereby order a secret vote, and you may see the contents of the resolution on screen. Have all of you cast your votes? If so, I close the voting and request that the returning committee submit the voting report. Much obliged. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby announce the resolution on acknowledgement and fulfillment of duties performed by Agnieszka Woźniak as the member of Supervisory Board has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares and 65.31% of the share capital, including 1,144,370,201 votes for, 434,572 votes against, 8,000 abstentions. Thank you very much. I suggest that we proceed to voting on resolution number 26 on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Anna Biszalska as the member of the Supervisory Board in the period from the 1st of January 2016 until 30th of December 2016. The wording of the resolution has just been displayed on screen. I hereby order a secret vote.
Jeżeli wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu, zamykam.
All the shareholders have successfully cast their votes. I hereby close the vote and expect the returning committee to provide me with the voting report as soon as possible. I hereby announce that a resolution on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Anna Biszalska has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares and 65.31% of the share capital of the company, including 1,144,316,891 votes for, 442,572 votes against, and 310 abstentions. Thank you very much. And I suggest that we proceed to voting on resolution number 27 on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Mr. Michał Czarnik as the member of the Supervisory Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. From the 1st of January until 30th of December 2016, the wording of the resolution has been displayed on screen. I order a secret vote now.
Czy wszyscy z Państwa mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
Cast your votes. If so, I close the vote and expect to be submitted the voting report. I announced that in a matter of resolution on acknowledgement of duties performed by Michał Czarnik was adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares and 65.31% of the company's share capital, including 1,144,370,201 votes for, against 442,572 votes against, with no abstentions. I suggest that we proceed to voting on resolution number 28 concerning the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Wojciech Myślecki as the Supervisory Board member in the period from the 1st of January 2016 to the 14th of November 2016. You may see the contents of the resolution on screen. I hereby open a secret vote now.
Jeżeli wszyscy z Państwa mieli możliwość oddania...
You have cast your votes. I hereby close the vote and expect to be provided the voting report. I would like to announce that in a matter of resolution number 28 on acknowledgement of fulfillment of deeds by Wojciech Myślecki has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares and 65.35% of the share capital, including 1,144,370,201 votes for and 442,572 votes against, no abstentions. Let's proceed to voting on resolution number 29 on the acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties performed by Renata Wiernik-Gizicka as a member of Supervisory Board in the period from the 1st of January until the 6th of June 2016. The wording of the resolution has been displayed on screen. I hereby open a secret vote.
Czy każdy miał możliwość oddania?
Have you cast the vote? If so, I close the meeting and I request the returning committee to provide the report with the results.
Dziękuję. Szanowni Państwo, stwierdzam, że uchwała w sprawie...
Ladies and gentlemen, the resolution on fulfillment of granting fulfillment of duties for Ms. Renata Gizicka has been adopted. 1,144,759,773 valid votes have been cast, representing 65.31% of the share capital. Votes for are 1,144,759,000 votes were votes for. Over 4,000 votes were against, no abstentions. Now, the last resolution concerns acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties by Mr. Maciej Koński for the period of 1st January 2016 until 6th of June 2016. The resolution is displayed on the screen. Vote now.
Jeżeli wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu,
All of you have cast the votes. I close the voting, and please provide the report of the results. The resolution has on acknowledgement of fulfillment of duties to Mr. Maciej Koński has been adopted. The general number of 1,144,759,73 votes have been cast, representing the same number of shares, constituting 65.31% of the share capital. The votes for were 1,144,316,891. The votes against were 432,882. There were no abstentions. Therefore, we have exhausted 15 items on the agenda. I suggest that we move on to item 16, adoption on resolution on establishing the number of members of the supervisory board. Draft resolution has been published on the company's website. It's displayed on the screen. I just want to remind you that according to the articles of the association of the company, the supervisory board is composed of 5 to 9 members, and under the resolution of 8th of June 2016, it has been established that the supervisory board of the company of Tauron will be composed of 9 members. And taking the regulations into account, according to which before voting on the candidates, is up to the general meeting to establish a number of them. Please suggest the motions. On behalf of KGHM, I submit a motion for 9 members of the supervisory board. Are there any other motions of the concerning the number of the members of the supervisory board? If not, I close the discussion, and I suggest that we vote on the draft resolution submitted by the KGHM representative on the number of members of the supervisory board, according to which the general meeting of the ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia acting pursuant to Article 385 of the Commercial Companies Code and the Articles of Association, paragraph 22, it's established that Tauron Polska's supervisory board will be composed of 9 members of the supervisory board, and paragraph 2, the resolution of the ordinary general meeting number 46, dated 6th of June 2016, becomes invalid, and the resolution becomes valid on the day of adoption. Vote now in a secret voting. Have all of you cast the votes? If so, I close the voting, and I'd like to ask the returning committee to provide the voting report. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the resolution has been passed on the number of supervisory board members: 1,144,759,773. Number of valid votes have been cast, representing the same number of shares, representing 65.31% of share capital. The votes for were 1,051,450,008 shares. Votes against 434,572 votes, and abstentions 92,875,193 votes. Therefore, the resolution has been adopted. Thank you. We may move on to another item on the agenda, which is item 17 on appointment of members of the supervisory board for the 5th term of office. Since the general meeting has adopted the supervisory board a resolution concerning the number of members of the supervisory board, and the Treasury has the right to appoint 5 members of the supervisory board. The general meeting is authorized to appoint the remaining 4 members of the supervisory board. 2 shareholders want to submit their candidates, Nationale Nederlanden, which is representing Nationale Nederlanden Open Pension Fund. It informed the company on 22 of May about the candidate of Mr. Jacek Szyk of the 1st term of office with justification and professional note. And Paweł Knop has also submitted information on concerning the candidate with professional history and achievement. Both these candidates have been, the documents concerning these candidates have been announced on the company's website. According to our regulations, every member of the meeting provides a justification for the candidate and submits a written declaration on meeting the criteria for independence and acknowledgement of their consent to lack of legal objections and their consent to being selected to the appointed to the supervisory board, and for the processing by the company of the data. Now, please provide the Treasury will not vote. Now, on behalf of KGHM, I'd like to submit the candidate Paweł Pampuszko and Mr. Łabęcki. Both of them have submitted declarations according to the company's to the template. Mr. Łabęcki is not an independent candidate. The other candidate meets the criteria of independence. They are both capable. They have capacity to act in law. They are not in the indebtedness nor criminal records. They don't run competitive activities. They don't have no objections to, and there are no circumstances that would prevent them from being members of the supervisory board. I will tell you a few words about them. Mr. Radosław Domagalski-Łabęcki is a graduate of the University of Łódź. He graduated from a university in New Jersey, MBA, in Münster in Mannheim in Germany. He has vast experience in managing vast and complex business projects on international business models. He's been in managerial positions since 2016. He is the president of KGHM. Before that, he was a Secretary of State and was a member of the Polish Financial Supervision Authority. He was a member of the management board in China, of a company in China, and in Łódź, American Institute in Washington, one of the biggest think tanks in the U.S. He has experience in ownership supervision. He's a member of the supervisory board of PGE Energia one, and he's the co-founder of a Polish-Chinese Shanghai Chamber of Commerce. The other candidate is Advocate Mr. Paweł Pampuszko, a graduate of the University of Silesia. At present, he is one of the partners in a law firm. He has vast experience in negotiating contracts for big projects, in industrial projects, and he's got vast experience in court cases. He's been involved in verification and identification of incorrectness, irregularities in state companies. He's been a member of the supervisory board of several companies. He's published on medical law. Are there any other candidates? Acting foreign on behalf of Nationale Nederlanden, based in Poland, representing by Nationale Nederlanden, Powszechne Towarzystwo Emerytalne, I submit the candidate of Mr. Jacek Szykę as an independent member of the supervisory board. According to the declarations submitted by him, he consented to being appointed as a member of the supervisory board. He has declared that he meets the criteria of the company concerning his independence. I have the declarations with me. He has declared that he's not in the record of insolvent debtors. He's consented to being candidate and a member of the supervisory board. He's not in the criminal record. He does not run any competitive activities to Tauron Polska Energia. He's not a shareholder in any partnership or company or in a commercial company. There are no circumstances that are known to him that would prevent him from being a member of the supervisory board member under generally applicable provisions of the law. He has granted his consent to processing his personal data by Tauron Polska Energia. Thank you very much. Any other candidates? Hello, my name is Paweł Knob. I'm a minority shareholder. According to the published intention of submitting a candidate, as a minority shareholder, I submit the candidate of Paweł Konieczny. His achievements and his education actually prove that he fulfills the criteria of independence. Mr. Paweł Knob has agreed, Mr. Paweł Konieczny has agreed to being a candidate. He meets the criteria of independence. He has consented to becoming a member of the supervisory board. He has full capacity to act in law. He's not in the records of insolvent debtors. He's not in the criminal records. He does not run any competitive activities. He's not aware of any circumstances that would prevent him from becoming a member of the supervisory board, and he's consented to processing his data. He's a graduate of the management and IT department in Wrocław. He's a postdoc. He has a doctoral degree. He has a license of a broker, and he's graduated from a number of certificates. He has vast experience in Credit Suisse, UBS, e.g., and the Office of the Polish Financial Supervision Authority, and cooperative banks in Trzebija and Racibórz. And all the other information about him is published on the website. I will provide all the documents for the committee. Are there any other candidates? Can I announce? Yes, we'll have a break now, 5-minute break.
Pani Przewodnicząca, przepraszam, Katarzyna Florczuk-Złota, Złota Jesień.
Can we have a little longer break than just 5 minutes? Okay, I announce a 10-minute break then.
Szanowni Państwo, witam po przerwie. Przypomnę.
So the break. I remind you that before the break, we had 4 candidates for the supervisory board members submitted in alphabetical order as Radosław Domagalski-Łabęcki, Mr. Paweł Konieczny, Paweł Pampuszko, and Jacek Szyka. Would anyone else like to submit their candidate? If not, I wish to remind you that according to the regulations of the general meeting, voting on particular members will take place by submitting draft resolutions to vote concerning each and separate member candidate separately. We will vote on them in alphabetical order. Those members of the appointed supervisory board members must obtain absolute majority of votes, since there are only 4 candidates and we are voting on 4. And according to the Articles of Association, the Treasury will not take part in the appointment of members of the supervisory board that are not appointed by the Treasury. I suggest that we vote on particular resolutions after voting on submission of all the members of the appointment of all the members of the supervisory board. Since there are no questions, I suggest that we start voting on resolutions on appointment of members of the supervisory board. The first resolution will be resolution number 32 of the ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A., dated 29th of May 2017, on appointment of the supervisory board member of Tauron Polska Energia for the 5th joint term of office. The general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia is based in Katowice, acting under Article 385, Paragraph 1 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships and Paragraph 22 of the Articles of Association, adopts the following resolution. Paragraph 1, Mr. Radosław Domagalski-Łabęcki is appointed as a member of the Supervisory Board of the 5th term, and the resolution becomes valid on the day of adoption. Please vote now in the secret ballot on Mr. Radosław Domagalski, appointed as a member of the Supervisory Board.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
All of you cast the votes? If so, I hereby close the voting, and I suggest that we move on another resolution. It will be resolution number 33 of the ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. as of today, on appointment of a member of the supervisory board of Tauron S.A. The ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska S.A., acting under Article 385 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships and Paragraph 22 of the Articles of Association, appoints Mr. Paweł Konieczny as a member of the Supervisory Board of the 5th term of office, and the resolution becomes valid, effective on the day of adoption. So please vote on Mr. Paweł Konieczny being appointed as a member of the Supervisory Board of the company.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu? Jeszcze nie.
All of you cast the votes? Not yet.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
All of you cast the votes? If so, I close the meeting. And I suggest that we move on to voting on another resolution, resolution number 33 of the 34, excuse me. The ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. date held on 29th May 2019 for appointment of a supervisory member of the company. The ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. based in Katowice, acting in accordance with Article 385, Paragraph 1 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships, and Paragraph 22, Section 1 of the Articles of Association, appoints Mr. Paweł Pampuszko as a member of the Supervisory Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the 5th joint term of office, and the resolution becomes effective as of the day of adoption. So please vote now on appointment of Mr. Paweł Pampuszko as a member of the Supervisory Board of the company.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
You cast a vote? If so, I close the meeting, and I suggest that we move on to voting on another resolution on appointment of a supervisory board member. It will be resolution number 35 of the ordinary general meeting of the company Tauron Polska Energia S.A. date held on 29th of May 2017 on appointment of a supervisory board member of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. The general meeting, the ordinary general meeting of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. based in Katowice, under Article 385, Paragraph 1 of the Code of Commercial Companies and Partnerships, and Paragraph 22 of the Section 1 of the Articles of Association of the company, adopts the following resolution. Mr. Jacek Szykę is appointed as member of the Supervisory Board of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. for the 5th term of office. The resolution becomes effective as of the day of signing. So please vote now on appointment of Mr. Jacek Szykę as a member of the Supervisory Board for the 5th term of office.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
Cast a vote? If so, I close the voting. And I'd like to ask the returning committee to provide a report for all the votings. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that now the resolution number 32 concerning Mr. Radosław Domagalski, 617,911,389 valid votes have been cast from representing the same number of shares, containing 25.25% of shares, and the votes for were 407,139,150 votes, which is 65% of all the votes cast. Votes against, 187,161,031 votes, and abstentions, 23,611,208. Therefore, the resolution concerning appointment of Mr. Radosław Domagalski-Łabęcki as a member of the Supervisory Board has been adopted. Another resolution Another voting on resolution number 33 on appointment of Paweł Konieczny as a member of the supervisory board. 670,911,389 votes have been cast, representing the same number of shares, constituting 35.25% of the share capital. Now, the number of votes for was 31,353,211, which is 5% of all the votes cast. Votes against, 336,203,031 votes, and abstentions, 250,355,147 votes. Therefore, the resolution on appointment of Mr. Paweł Konieczny as a member of the supervisory board of the company has not been adopted. Another resolution which was voted on is resolution 34. On appointment of Mr. Paweł Pampuszko as a member of the supervisory board member, the number of votes cast is 617,911,389, which is 35.25% of the share capital. Now, the number of votes for is 355,650,150 votes. Votes against, 194, 688, 198, and abstentions, 67,573,051 votes. Therefore, the resolution has been adopted. 57.55% of votes were for. Therefore, the resolution has been adopted. Now, another resolution number 35. It was voted on by, it concerns Mr. Jacek Szykę. 617,911,389 valid votes have been cast, representing the same number of shares, constituting 35.25% of the share capital, where 407,131,150 votes were votes, which is over 65% of all the votes cast. Votes against, 187,169,031 votes, and abstentions, 23,611,208. Therefore, the resolution has been adopted. So I hereby inform you, based on regulations of the company's general meeting, that the following persons for the joint term of office, fifth term of office, the following persons have been appointed: Mr. Radosław Domagalski-Łabęcki, Mr. Paweł Pampuszko, and Mr. Jacek Szykę. We may now move on to another item on the agenda, which is item 18, concerning adoption of resolution concerning the amendment of the resolution number 5 of extraordinary general meeting of 15 December 2016 concerning the principles for determining remuneration of the management board members. Now, the justification of the shareholder that demanded the amendment of the resolution of the general meeting has been published on the company's website. Are there any questions concerning that motion? If not, I close the discussion, and I suggest that we move on voting on the resolution, the contents of which have been published on the company's website and is now displayed on the screen. And it concerns amendment of resolution number 5 of the extraordinary general meeting of the 15th of December 2016. I announce an open voting, on adoption of this resolution.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
You cast the votes? If so, I hereby close the voting, and I'd like to request the returning committee to provide the results.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the resolution on amendment of resolution of number five of the extraordinary general meeting of 15 December 2016 has been adopted. Now, the number of votes cast is 1,144,759,773, representing the same number of shares, constituting 65.31% of the share capital, and the number of votes for is 900,178,434. Votes against 191,924,616 votes, and abstentions 52,656,723. Thank you. And now the resolution has been adopted, and I suggest that we move on to another item on the agenda, which is item 19, concerning adoption of the resolution concerning the amendments of the Articles of Association of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. This was included in the agenda upon the shareholder request, namely the state treasury, and justification was published on the company's website. Are there any questions concerning this motion? If not, I close the discussion, and I suggest that we move on to voting on the resolution concerning amendment of paragraph 5 of the Articles of Association of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. Draft resolution was published on the website of the company's website. Now it's displayed on the screen. Please vote now. I just wish to remind you that all the resolutions concerning changes in the Articles of Association, they have to be adopted by a qualified number of 3/4 of votes. So please vote now on the resolution that's displayed on the screen.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
Others cast their vote? If so, I close the vote and would like to request that the returning committee provide the voting report. Jest dobrze.
Stwierdzam, że
I would like to announce that there have been 1,144,759,773 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, and 65.31% of share capital of the company, where 723,004,012 votes for, 304,729,722 votes against, and 117,026,038 abstentions, with 65.31%. 1% of votes, and therefore the resolution has not been adopted. I suggest that we proceed to voting on draft resolution number 38 on amendment to the company's articles of association in paragraph 10. Please read the content of the resolution, draft resolution. I hereby order a secret vote on amendment to paragraph 10 of the company's articles of association.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
Holders cast their votes? Not yet.
Zamykam głosowanie i proszę Komisję Skróconą.
The vote and request that the returning committee provide me with the voting report. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to announce that in resolution on amendment to Article 10 of the company's Articles of Association, there have been 1,140,314,203 valid votes cast, representing 11.06% of the share capital, and the same number of votes with 763,703,702 votes for, 300,548,463 votes against, 76,026,038 abstentions. With regard to the foregoing, since there were only 66.97% of the votes for, the resolution has not been adopted. Another draft resolution we would like to vote upon concerns amendment to paragraph 15 of Articles of Association of Tauron S.A. The draft resolution wording has also been published on the website and is now displayed on screen. You may read it now, and I hereby order an open vote on a resolution concerning amendment to paragraph 15 of the company's Articles of Association.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu? Jeżeli tak, to zamykam.
Shareholders cast their vote. If so, I close the vote and request the returning committee submit the voting report.
Bardzo dziękuję.
I would like to announce that in resolution concerning the amendment to paragraph 15 of the Articles of Association have been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing 65.31% of the share capital, with 923,235,012 votes for, this being 80% of all votes, 196,987,723 votes against, and 24,537,038 abstentions. As I've already mentioned, the resolution on amendment of paragraph 15 of the Articles of Association has been adopted. I suggest that we proceed to voting on amendment to the Articles of Association of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. in paragraph 16. I hereby order an open vote on amendments to paragraph 16 of Articles of Association.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu? Jeżeli
Holders cast their votes. If so, I close the voting and wait for the voting report to be submitted. I'd like to announce that in the matter of resolution on amendment to paragraph 16 has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes for, representing the same number of shares and 65.31% of share capital of the company, with 923,235,012 votes for, 196 being 80.64% of all votes cast, with 196,987,723 votes against, and 24,537,038 abstentions. As I already mentioned, the resolution has been adopted. Let us now proceed to voting on draft resolution number 41 on amendment to the Articles of Association in paragraph 17 of the company's Articles of Association. The wording of the draft resolution has been published on the company's website and is right now displayed on the screen. I hereby order an open vote on adoption of a resolution concerning amendments to paragraph 17 of the company's Articles of Association. Have every shareholder cast their votes? If so, I close the vote and request that the returning committee submit a voting report. Thank you very much. I would like to announce that a resolution on amendment to paragraph 17 of the Articles of Association has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes representing the same number of shares and 65.31% of share capital, with 923,235,012 votes for, 196,987,723 votes against, and 24,537,038 abstentions, with 80% of votes for. The resolution has been adopted. With regard to the foregoing, I suggest that we proceed to voting on a resolution concerning amendment to paragraph 18 of Articles of Association of Tauron Polska Energia S.A. with the wording of the resolution published on the website and currently being displayed on the screen. You may read it. I hereby order an open vote on amendments to Article 18 of the Companies Articles Association. Have all the shareholders cast their vote? If so, I close the vote and request the returning committee submit the voting report. Another resolution on amendment to the paragraph 18 of the Articles of Association has been adopted with 1,144,759,173 votes representing 65.31% of share capital of the company, and 871,754,012 votes for, 196,979,723 votes against, and 76,026,038 abstentions, with the resolution being adopted at a majority of votes of 79% of all votes. I suggest that we proceed to voting on another draft resolution pertaining to amendment to paragraph 20 of Articles of Association, with the wording of the draft resolution having been published on the company's website and is right now being displayed on the screen. You may read it on the screen, and I order an open vote on adoption of a resolution concerning the amendment to paragraph 20 of the company's Articles of Association. Please cast your votes. Have all of you cast your votes? Please cast your votes, ladies and gentlemen. I close the vote and request that the voting report be submitted. Ladies and gentlemen, the draft resolution on amendment to paragraph 20 has been adopted. 1,144,759,773 valid votes cast, representing 65.31% of share capital of the company, with 871,746,012 votes for, 196,987,723 votes against, and 76,026,038 abstentions. The resolution has been passed with a majority of 76.15% of all votes cast. We shall now proceed to voting on another resolution pertaining to amendments to the Articles of Association of the company, concerning the amendments to adding paragraph 38(1) into the Articles of Association with the wording as provided in the publication on the company's website and as displayed on the screen. I hereby order an open vote on this draft resolution, namely resolution number 44 on amendment to the Articles of Association. Please cast your votes.
Wiem. Szanowni Państwo, czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania...
Ladies and gentlemen, have all of you cast your vote? If so, I close the vote and request that the voting report be submitted. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to announce that the resolution on amendment to the Articles of Association by adding paragraph 38(1) has been adopted with 1,144,759,773 valid votes cast, representing the same number of shares, and 65.31% of the company's share capital, and 871,746,012 votes for, 196,987,723 votes against, and 76,026,038 abstentions, with the resolution being adopted by the majority of 76.15% of all votes. We shall now proceed to voting on the very last resolution on amendments to the company's Articles of Association, with the wording of the resolution obviously having been published on the company's website and is being right now displayed on screen. You may read it there. And I order an open vote on the resolution concerning amendments to the company's Articles of Association.
Czy wszyscy mieli możliwość oddania głosu?
All of you, your shareholders, have cast your vote. If none, I'm still waiting. Ladies and gentlemen, I hereby close the vote on the foregoing resolution and request the returning committee be so kind as to provide me with the voting report. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce that the draft resolution number 45 on amendment to the company's articles of association consisting in deleting Chapter 9 has been passed with 1,144,759,773 votes cast, representing 65.31% of share capital, with 871,754,012 votes for, 196,979,723 votes against, and 76,026,038 abstentions. With the resolution having been adopted at 75.15% of all votes cast, we have completed item 20 of today's general shareholders meeting. I suggest that we take 3-minute break.
Szanowni Państwo, jeżeli mogę zaprosić Państwa.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would kindly request that you join us here inside the meeting room. Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that before the break, we've completed 19 items of the agenda of today's meeting. We are currently proceeding item 20, that is adoption of resolutions on individual items enumerated. I have the following motion, if I may. I suggest that we abstain from adopting resolution in this item, and I will give you the following rationale. The resolution on disposal of components of fixed assets in this item and the State Treasury, that was the proposal of State Treasury, withdrew a motion on adoption of this item, which was also reflected in the publication on the website, and therefore the resolution on the item which has been withdrawn obviously is groundless, but starting from item 2 up to item 7, they were exhausted by the new regulations to the Articles of Association that were adopted under item 19 of the agenda, because both the rules of procedure while concluding agreements for legal services and marketing services, as well as rule procedures while conducting agreements of donations, the principles and procedure for disposal of fixed assets, as well as the obligation to submit a report on representation expenses and other expenses. Also, determination the requirements for a candidate for a member of a company management board, as well as the fulfillment of obligations arising from articles mentioned in the items, have already been implemented into the Articles of Association of the company. So I think that voting on the resolution is groundless. Is there anyone that would like to lodge a reservation on against my proposal? If none, I assume that my motion has been adopted, and therefore let us proceed to item 21 of this meeting. I hereby close today's general ordinary shareholders meeting of our shareholders. I would like to thank you all for attending the meeting. Thank you very much and goodbye.